In this presentation, I will cover three main areas. First, I will discuss the major structural and cultural differences between English and Turkish and how those differences shape communication. Second, I will show how these differences appear in real conversations, especially misunderstandings that come from word order, tone, politeness strategies, and implied meaning. Third, I will explain the communication strategies we both use, consciously and unconsciously, to bridge gaps and negotiate meaning. The questions guiding my research were: how do structural and cultural differences between English and Turkish influence everyday communication? What strategies do native speakers use when interacting with language learners? And how do the pragmatic differences create either confusion or clarity? My method for this study was simple. I observed our conversations throughout the year, took notes on recurring patterns that I noticed, and I connected those observations to the linguistic concepts we discussed in class. Because those interactions weren't planned or staged for research, they show communication as it actually happens: spontaneous, messy, and extremely real. We have to start with the structural differences between English and Turkish. English follows SVO, subject, verb, object. Turkish follows SOV, subject, object, verb. So an English sentence like I ate the apple becomes I the apple ate in Turkish structure. This difference may seem small on paper, but in real conversations it has a huge impact. When my boyfriend speaks English, I can literally see him like pausing mid sentence to mentally rearrange the pieces. So he might say, I, the game yesterday, played. I understand what he means, but I can also see the influence of Turkish shaping the rhythm of his thoughts. This matches what Ibrahim Abushab explains, that many of the hardest challenges in learning a foreign language come from interference from one's first language. You're not just learning a new structure, you're also resisting the one that's already feels natural in your brain. So, another contrast is that Turkish grammar is extremely regular. There are almost no irregular verbs, and the spelling is uh, phonetic. English, meanwhile, as we know, is not. English is full of unpredictable spelling patterns, silent letters, and idioms. From his perspective, English feels chaotic, inconsistent, and full of exceptions. He once asked me, why do tough, though, and thought all look the same but sound completely different? And honestly, I did not have a good answer for him. But grammar is only one layer. Pragmatics, the social meaning behind language, creates even more confusion. So when I say maybe we could do it later, I'm trying to be polite by softening the request, but he hears it literally and thinks I'm undecided or avoiding the question. Sarcasm is an even bigger obstacle. Sometimes, if I say something like, wow, perfect, just what I needed today, he can't tell immediately if I'm serious or being sarcastic, because sarcasm works differently in Turkish. Uh, George Smith's work on implicature explains why. Indirect meaning depends on cultural expectations. Native speakers recognize these cues instantly, but learners must decode them slowly and consciously. Sometimes he will stop and ask, you are joking or serious? And that one question perfectly shows how different our pragmatic habits are. These challenges, both of us rely on various communication strategies, many of which line up with what Lydia Putri describes in her research. The strategy I use most is simplification. English has many overlapping vocabulary words with like subtle differences. So instead of saying I'm frustrated, I'll say I'm upset because something's not working. Instead of furious, I say very angry. This helps him focus on the meaning of what I'm trying to say instead of getting stuck on like a specific word that he doesn't understand. I also paraphrase. I repeat important phrases, slow my speech, and connect ideas to vocabulary he already knows. Because of his early English mm, introduction, like Hollywood media, like movies, video games, and stuff, terms like level, health, quest, whatever, are familiar. So I use these sometimes as like anchors when explaining new ideas to him. And he uses strategies when communicating with me too. If he forgets a word, he sometimes uses like the Turkish one and hopes context fills in the gaps. If something is unclear, he asks for clarification. And when all else fails, we fall back on Google Translate as a safety net before returning to English. Over time, a rhythm has formed between us. These strategies prove that communication isn't about perfect grammar, it's about cooperation. It's about carrying the meaning together, even when the language forms aren't perfect. Putri argues that these strategies happen universally in bilingual interactions, and our conversations match her research almost exactly. Um, one of the sweetest parts of our relationship is how we've learned to love each other through our languages. English and Turkish are so different that even simple sounds can turn into little adventures. For him, the English TH sound might as well be a final boss. It does not exist in Turkish. So thank you becomes tank you, and think becomes tink. Even when I tell him to put his tongue between his teeth, he laughs and says it feels wrong, like his mouth refuses to cooperate. But I also have my own struggles. Turkish has rolled R's in words like Ruzgar and Tekrar, and every time I try, it sounds like I'm gently whispering the R into a void. Like, he teases me every single time, and honestly, I deserve it because I tease him too sometimes. Pronunciation is not the only challenge. Grammar gets fun too. One of our ongoing inside jokes is how he mixes up past and future tenses. So he'll say, yesterday I will go, or tomorrow I went, and I just stare at him because it takes a second, like my brain is buffering, trying to figure out which timeline he's talking about. Then we both laugh because we always understand each other, anyways. These small mistakes, the sounds we can't make yet, the grammar we untangle together, have become some of our favorite moments. They remind us that language is physical, messy, and shaped by habit, but also that love makes room for all of it. Our miscommunications don't come between us, they bring us closer. It's proof that love does not need perfect grammar or perfect pronunciation. It just needs two people willing to learn each other. All of these examples, from word order differences to cultural expectations about politeness to pronunciation challenges like thank you and my failure to roll my R's, show that cross cultural communication is a layered process. We are not just translating words, we're translating cultures, emotions, habits, and even the physical movements of our mouths. This experience taught me that the heart of communication is not correctness, it's connection. It's patience, it's effort, and it's the willingness to meet someone halfway, even when languages feel foreign. The strategies we use, simplifying, clarifying, repeating, asking questions, laughing through misunderstandings, all help us build meaning together. Our relationship became not just a love story, but a linguistic case study. And it showed me how language is learned best through real interactions, genuine care, and shared moments of confusion turning into shared moments of clarity. Now that I've shared the linguistic side of our story, my boyfriend would like to say a few words as well.
Thank you for listening to our story. Speaking English is not easy, but being able to talk with her makes me want to work hard every day.